The earth is about to boil. Boiling is the result of atoms in conflict, colliding with each other, which is the nature of pressure. So-called freedom, individual freedom, is inherently chaotic, as the more freedom each has, the less others have. Civilization is at its best when restraint and discipline is observed sacrosanct. The so-called freedom of the West is an illusion. It is tyranny in disguise. You want to smoke, but I don't. Yet I must endure your, quote, right, end quote, to smoke, even though it infringes on my right to be free of smoke. You want to chew pop gum. I don't want to hear it. Irritating, annoying. So I must suffer your freedom to do so. You want to play your ghetto blasters whenever and as loudly as you want, even though I prefer quiet. You want to stink up every place with your stinking perfume, yet I prefer the air as it is, etc., etc. The first act of the Son of Man will be to send his angels to root out everyone who offends and cast them into the fire. Islam is said to be a religion of peace. The better interpretation would be harmony. Islam is the religion of harmony, which is the meaning of the Hajj, one of the 5 pillars of Islam. You can have peace without harmony, but not harmony without peace. Harmony is free of conflict, everyone in agreement, moving in the same direction, the Hajj. Islam is the savior of the righteous in the day of universal calamity. There are only 2 forms of government, as in 2 types of motion, harmonic and independent, called random. The latter is chaotic, tends towards chaos. They call it freedom, independence. The other is harmonic, where there is agreement, conformity, understanding, peace, which has been labeled authoritarian. Yet the hypocritical Christians, the religion of the Caucasians, claim that so-called freedom/democracy is best and most preferred, when the God they claim to love, Jesus, is authoritarian and openly states that he is a dictator and will establish an everlasting kingdom on that foundation. The war is upon us. It has already started. Sanctions are acts of war, and as the AL-INJIL reveals in chapters 13 and 18, it will begin with trade wars and sanctions. The world is on the edge of boiling. Mr. Trump has set the temperature to broil. Boiling is when the pressure reaches the temperature threshold of 212 Fahrenheit. The water turns to steam. The pressure is such that the water bursts its bounds. Pressure is independent or near random motion, which cause collisions/conflicts. The more collisions, the greater the pressure. We already see the collisions in every part of the world increasing. We see it dramatically increasing in the so-called Western countries, especially in America. That's because they have chaotic systems they call democracy and diversity. Both are contrary in opposition to harmony. So, as the pressure increases, the West called, quote, Earth, end quote, in the AL-INJIL will reach the boiling point first. Unimaginable conflict, unprecedented. Most nations will follow. The entire planet will be an inferno, an oven on broil, a microwave. Every nation except the Middle East under the control of the Shia led by Iran. They will turn the chaotic motion, the boil, into harmonic motion. It was the broken dragon, Saudi Arabia, that brought conflict and disorder to the Middle East. Once vanquished, harmony throughout the region. There will be just 2 places free from the inferno that is about to engulf the entire globe. The Middle East under Shia control with Gog and Magog vanquished. The other will be the wheel, called, quote, mother plane, end quote, that Michael/Farad will have far above the earth with the Lamb and his elect on board. The so-called enlightened West with America, quote, the indispensable nation, end quote, is sick and rotten to the core, through and through. They established their so-called freedom by robbing the freedom of an entire people. I'm not sure that robbing is anywhere near the proper term. What you call it when you are robbed of everything, including your very nature. They didn't stop there. They robbed another people of their land, their way of life, by murdering them by the millions, women and children. They did not stop there. They honored those who committed those acts, which go well beyond crime. Washington, Jefferson, rapists, pedophiles, murderers, oppressors, etc. People who make Hitler seem like a choir boy. Ask yourself, if Satan, Lucifer, Antichrist, and whatever evil names and characters you can imagine had arrived on the shores of America rather than Columbus, what could they have done that Columbus and those who came behind him didn't do or was able to do? When you find the answer, you will know the true identity of the Caucasians. War is but days away. The surface of the planet will boil. The pressures have reached the boiling threshold. Pressure upon pressure. Two opposing realities, neither yielding. The heat will be unbearable. No shelter from it. No cave to hide in. No mountain high enough. Extreme cold. Extreme heat. The Great Tribulation. America will be the target of every nation. America is the most hated nation on the planet. America will burn as an oven. The Lord, his name consequence is presence. America will be the fuel of the fire. There will be nothing left of America but ashes. We see Mr. Trump turning up the flames. We see false Israel and Saudi Arabia fanning the flames. They don't realize they are in the oven. Heat upon heat, flames upon flames, pressures upon pressures. Only the wise will survive. Everything is mathematics. Everything. The fundamental principle of mathematics is consequence. Action equals consequence. A plus B equals C. The action is on the left. The consequence is on the right of the equal sign. Action is force. Consequence is force. Therefore, everything is force. Everything. Pressure is force dispersed throughout an area or space. Since we live in a three-dimensional space, then everything is pressure. Everything is mathematics. Everything is force. Everything is pressure. Mathematics is the language of pressure. Force is the component of pressure. Pressure is energy. Matter is potential energy. Tension is the opposite of pressure. Energy is space. Matter is potential space. The universe expands by converting potential space to space, converting matter to energy. There are four dimensions, the zero dimension through the third dimension. Matter is the zero dimension. Energy is the first through third dimensions. In a pressure field, every point is equal in force. Pressure is force dispersed over some space. And there is a force differential or pressure differential, then a current is spontaneously generated to equalize the pressure between the 2 points. Force is defined as mass times acceleration equals force, where force is equal at every point. This means that if the molecules are of low mass, then their acceleration will be high. And if molecules are high mass, their acceleration will be low or slow, such that if the pressure is 24, then the following are examples. See table. Temperature is the measure of how fast atoms, molecules are moving. The faster atoms/molecules move, the higher the temperature. Pressure is the measure of the rate and intensity/magnitude of collisions between atoms or molecules. When energy is applied to pressure, it increases the pressure, increases the temperature. Pressure itself is energy. Everything is either energy or potential energy. Potential energy is called matter. Potential energy is the zero dimension. Tension is the opposite of pressure. Pressure pushes, compresses. Tension pulls, decompresses. The universe expands and contracts. The universe is all energy. The act of increasing and contracting is done in energy waves. The universe is contracting. Energy is returning to the earth from where it came in waves at a frequency of approximately 50 to 60 years called jubilees. This means that the earth is the center of the universe, and all energy in the universe came from the earth. Do not the unbelievers see that the heavens and earth were joined together as one unit of creation before we clove them asunder? We made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe? The earth spins at the rate of 1,037 and 1/3 miles per hour. The circumference of the earth is 24,895 miles. The concept of 24 hours is the ratio between the circumference and the rate of spin. 24,895 divided by 1,037 and 1/3 equals 24. Now, how did the KV come up with a 24-hour day when they didn't know the earth was round or even that it spun? It's not an insignificant question. There is no mention of a 24-hour day in any of the known scriptures. The earth is no random accidental planet that came about in happenstance. The earth is the only object in the creation that has always existed. We didn't create it, but we did make it. If it were larger than it is or spun at a different rate, you would get a different result, and it would not be an exact number as it is. It's exactly 24 hours because we made it so. The earth also possesses all the possible elements in the amounts that you would expect if they were forged in the center of a massive star, which is what happened. The earth was the center of the so-called Big Bang, the first and greatest, most massive star ever. The earth is the exact center of the universe. The heavens and earth were one. Then they were separated, rent, meaning the heavens universe was expanded as the so-called Big Bang reveals. The earth being the core of the first star under the intense pressure of the fully contracted universe fused/forged every possible element, including the atom of life. The earth is the richest planet in the universe. The cavity has only penetrated several miles beneath the surface. Yet the earth is approximately 40,000 miles deep. What treasures lay within? The Quran tells us that rivers of gold, silver, and precious stones of all kinds are beneath our feet in virtually inexhaustible amounts, such that we could pave streets and build mansions exclusively with it. Diamonds large as boulders. The earth is our womb. We were self-created in the core of the earth and later rose to its surface. Quote, Maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe, end quote. The cream rises from the bottom to the top or center of the earth to the surface of the earth. The earth was well made. It's the engine of life. The earth was fashioned to convert returning energy waves to usable energy at a daily rate such that the energy would not be exhausted between waves. This subject will not register until the next wave is realized and until the original nation is re-educated to the true and full nature of the earth. The energy wave is what is meant by, quote, we don't live by bread alone, but every word that comes out of the mouth of God, end quote. The energy waves. Mr. Iblis, an angel, states that he was created before Adam of intensely hot fire. That is what intense pressure is, intensely hot fire. Mr. Iblis, an angel, as original people are an extension of the original being, is revealing the truth about our creation. He didn't witness it himself, as he is a descendant of the original being who did. The stars and planets were made from energy that originated from the earth. The process of making the heavens caused an ever-increasing decrease of energy on the earth. 50,000 years ago, our forefather, Dr. Shabazz, noticing that the deserts started to appear on earth, began preparing his family for the inevitable consequences. The appearance of deserts was evidence that the earth was entering into a period of energy deprivation. The energy deprivation continued until the evidence of the contraction in the 1860s. The period between the expansion period and contraction period takes 6,000 years, a period where, contrary mankind, Yaqub's grafted creation would thrive. The earth has just received an energy wave. The energy is being processed and converted into a form that life can use. This is addressing the energy waves that's returning to the earth as the universe contracts. The energy, once converted and made life accessible, will increase the temperature/tempers on the planet. The energy wave heats up/energizes the planet. The energy penetrates the earth to its core, then spreads out until the earth is saturated. The heat causes the planet to vent energy in the form of volcanoes, which keeps the planet from overheating internally. The heated planet expands, which results in earthquakes. As the planet becomes saturated from the energy wave, the surface heats up, causing the oceans to heat up. This results in increased evaporation, causing excessive rain, flooding. The warming of the surface, land, and sea causes atmospheric/pressure differentials, which results in currents, which further results in hurricanes, tornadoes, cyclones. All these things are symptoms of the presence of an energy wave. Once the process of conversion is complete, then all life on the planet will experience a sudden increase in energy, a planetary energizing. When water in a confined space is exposed to continuing heat, the molecules increase in speed, which means the temperature increases. As the temperature increases, the collisions between the molecules increase and intensify, which result in increasing pressure. As the pressure increases, the molecules begin to push against each other, causing an overflow, called boiling, where the molecules attempt to escape the pressure. In a, quote, pressure cooker, end quote, the molecules are prevented from escaping. The pressure and temperature increases and continues to until the pressure becomes greater than the capacity of the container to contain it, explosion, or until the increase in energy called heat is discontinued. These principles applies directly to the human condition. It's called the pillars of Islam. Islam is mathematics. Each wave of positive energy energizes the planet, which energizes all life. The first wave of positive energy saturated the planet during the so-called Civil War period, which broke the chains off the original people, a result of increased pressure, which is increased collisions/conflicts, which is war, the awakening of the original nation. The original people were blinded by reason of energy deprivation. The energy distribution/allotment wasn't enough for the original nation to maintain itself. Energy is power, and the original people had just enough energy to maintain their existence. Dr. Yaqub took advantage of the 60,000 year period of energy deprivation to make a grafted, stripped down version of the original people who required low maintenance, providing them with disposable energy, as in disposable income, allowing them the energy to rule the nations. There is an equal/just distribution of energy among all life. That's the mathematics of pressure. We all receive equal amounts of energy, daily allotments, no exceptions. Energy is luck. The devils have weak/wicked structures, but more luck since they don't need much energy to maintain their weak structures. We have a very strong structure, but bad luck because it requires a great deal of energy to maintain our structures. The more internal energy required, the less external energy available. The less internal energy required, the more external energy available. External energy is power, is luck. The second wave, approximately 50 to 60 years later, resulted in the advent of Farad, Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, breakers of the mental chains from the minds of the original people, again accompanied by war, the so-called Great War, the war to end all wars, World War I. The third wave was again about 50 to 60 years later, which broke the social chains from the original people, accompanied by the Vietnam War. This is the period of Malcolm, Ali under Elijah Muhammad, and the Dream Prophet Martin Luther King. The fourth wave is in progress. The planet is already showing signs of its arrival. The planet is heating up, evidenced by dramatic increases in volcanic activity. Volcanoes are pressure relief valves, releasing the pressure/heat from the core of the Earth. The increased energy causes the Earth to expand. Heat causes things to expand, which produce earthquakes, of which there has been a dramatic increase of. Then there is the flooding, which is a clear sign that the energy is nearing the surface of the Earth from its core. The energy near the surface energizes the oceans, which increases evaporation, which in turn causes increased rain, resulting in flooding, which is also on the increase. As the surface energy increases, it causes the atmospheric pressures to increase, which results in dramatic temperature differentials that results in extreme atmospheric currents called hurricanes, tornadoes, cyclones, etc. Adverse weather. All these things are symptoms and evidence of the arrival of an energy wave. The symptoms will increase in frequency and intensity. Quote, watch the weather, end quote. Each wave, which is momentous in the heavens, saturates the planet in the process of converting the energy wave into a form life can use. Once processed, then life suddenly energized transforms the organization of the planet accordingly. Pressure causes systems to reorganize, as in coal to diamond. Pressure is energy. The energized population is a pressurized population, meaning increased collisions, increased conflict, increased polarization. As previously stated, 3 previous shocks to America that reverberated across the surface of the planet. The breaking of the physical chains of blacks, 1860s through 1870s. The breaking of the mental chains of blacks, 1910s through 1920s. The breaking of the social chains of blacks, 1960s through 1970s. and the next sudden universal event imminent, the breaking of the power of the enemies of the original nation, 2010s through 2020s. Each event accompanied by war. The next event devastating for America, the critical point, the boiling point. Civil War, World War I and World War II, Korea/Vietnam, and next, Armageddon. There are two types of motion, harmonic motion and independent motion. Harmonic motion is just that, harmony. No collisions. Everyone is moving in harmony, peace. That is one of the pillars of Islam, the Hajj. The 5 pillars of Islam are the 5 principles of pressure, as pressure mathematics is the mathematics that governs all existence, particularly human existence, as all existence is an extension of the mind of the original people. Presently, we are in a state of independent motion, some call random motion. Nothing is truly random. Random means chaos. Chaos and order cannot coexist. Where there are ubiquitous collisions, pressure. That is because there is 2 opposing gods, 2 opposing ideas, 2 opposing realities. The original versus the grafted. The angels versus the devils. Dr. Shabazz versus Dr. Yaqub. 2 opposing visions, 2 opposing natures, one contrary to the other. So there can be no harmony while both exist. Because of the pressure, which is the result of 2 contrary/opposing motions, an increase in energy just exacerbates the pressure, increases the pressure. The 2 polarities are both increased in strength, a result of the increase in energy from the energy wave. The contrary has reached a critical threshold, its constructive reorganization limit, in which an increase in pressure will force a fundamental reorganization. Yet the contrary hasn't the ability to make a constructive reorganization. The West/Caucasian world cannot imagine a governmental, political, economic, social order stronger and more stable than the one they have. So their only choice is to destroy the source of the pressure. The emerging original people will be crushed to dust by the rise of the original people, which will result in destruction and reorganization for them, crushed to dust. Since everything is on the line for both the righteous and the contrary, the conflict/pressure will reach the boiling point. The pressure will be unprecedented. War universal. There can be no harmony, no peace, until one or the other is no more. There can be no compromise, no coexistence. The devils understand it, and you should too, but you don't. Why? The surface of the planet is about to boil. As with all boiling, the boiling comes suddenly, with little to no warning. 1 second you see perhaps a few bubbles, then suddenly the water extremely hot is rising, bursting its bounds, which happens when it reaches its boiling threshold, boiling point. Suddenly steam, smoke, overflow, intense heat, unyielding/crushing pressure. It will be a time of unprecedented trouble, a time when parts of the planet will burn as in an oven, Malachi. There will be no place that will escape the pressure, the collisions, conflict. It will be extremely hot, not like any heat the planet has ever experienced as far as the human condition is concerned. That's why it is called a time of unprecedented trouble. America in particular will be the most dangerous place on Earth, as collisions will be of the highest frequency according to the mass times acceleration equals force law. The, the Caucasians, being of less mass, are a stripped down version of the original people. The Caucasians, having less structure, which translates into less mass, will have greater acceleration, meaning higher temperature, hotter/blazing tempers. This results in a higher frequency of collisions or conflicts. America is the place of the Great Tribulation, where the original people who were left behind, specifically the NOI, will have to fight their way through the intense gauntlet of angry, bloodthirsty devils from the East Coast to the West under constant attack. The Great Tribulation could have been avoided, but they chose a liar over truth. For the elect of Farad, there will be one place of relative safety on the planet. The Middle East will be under the control of the Shia. Even there, it will be boiling. Jerusalem is the place of the abomination of desolation, the place where America will take her final desperate act of vengeance, with an act of intense heat such as world has ever seen. Beyond that, the Middle East will be under the protection of the forces of Farad. Their Islam will turn conflict/collision to harmonic motion, turning the boiling into a cool, refreshing lake. The entire surface of the planet will boil. As the Quran says, no town or city will be left untouched. The elect of the Son of Man, the Lamb, will be removed from the surface of the earth by Michael/Farad, far beyond the reach of the devils, far from the raging and roarings of the boiling of hell. Quote, they will not hear the faintest sound of the raging and roarings of hell. End quote. Quran. America will be the hottest place on the planet, the place of the Great Tribulation. A fully compressed universe is under extreme pressure, the greatest pressure possible, a star of unimaginable magnitude, a star whose core was the Earth. The Earth is composed of all possible elements of the universe. It takes pressure to forge atoms. The more complex the atom, the greater the pressure. The greater the pressure, the greater the temperature. Under such extreme pressure, the atom of life was formed. The periodic table is a table of inorganic atoms. It does not include organic atoms. The blindest/scientists of this world do not recognize or are even conscious of organic atoms, in part the reason for their misguided theory of evolution. Lead, one of the heaviest and most complex of the inorganic atoms, has a consistency of flesh. So what properties would an atom of life have? DNA is the atom of life. It was formed here within the core of the earth, which was the core of the original star, the mother star, from which all stars were made. The earth is the richest planet in the universe. There is no planet like it. Every element in the universe, including the element called the atom of life, is found here. That would only be possible if the earth was the core of the original star. Atoms are fused / formed / forged in the core of stars. The biggest star, the most complex, the atoms. Our sun, for instance, is a small star that can only produce helium, the simplest of the atoms. For a planet to possess all the possible elements in the universe, it must have been the core of the star, which existed at the time of the fully compressed universe, which the Cavies call the Big Bang. As the Quran states, the earth and the heavens were one. Then we rent them, meaning we separated them, caused the heavens to expand. Energy waves. Quote, one generation passeth away, another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Escalades. Force is the fundamental principle / phenomena in the universe. Without force, there is nothing. Nothing can move without force. Understanding that, then thought must be force. Pressure is force dispersed throughout a space. So as thought is generated by the brain, which is a three-dimensional vessel, thought is pressure. It takes pressure to forge / fuse atoms. The more complex the atom, the greater the pressure. The greater the pressure, the greater the temperature. Under such extreme pressure, the atom of life was formed, which means the atoms are moving around at extreme speeds up to 24 billion miles per second on average. Atoms moving at such speeds achieve harmonic motion, which means they are no longer colliding, which eliminates the heat. The atom of life moving at such speeds achieved harmonic motion, which is consciousness. The pressures at the core of the universe was equal to the pressure of the entire contracted universe. Since thought / consciousness is pressure, then the consciousness achieved was equal to the pressure of the entire universe, meaning the consciousness was conscious of the entire universe. The original self-created being was / is conscious of the entire universe. We express ourselves with pressure waves called sound. We hear via pressure waves. All our systems operate because of pressure. Blood pressure, lungs, digestive system, reproductive system, vocal, audio, etc., etc. The atmosphere, weather, oceans. We can't describe anything in manifest reality that is not subject to or is pressure / tension. So why are you ignorant of the principles / mathematics of pressure? The 5 pillars of Islam are the 5 principles of pressure. Tension is the opposite of pressure. Pressure is very predictive. If you don't understand the mathematics of pressure, you don't understand Islam. Books or the written word is stored pressure as with memories. Books are atoms, and like atoms, they store energy. Stored energy is stored pressure. When you split an atom, you release the pressure / energy. The more complex the atom, the greater the pressure / energy released. The same with prophetic books. Prophecy is energy times time. The energy is the reality unfolding. Prophetic books such as scripture, especially allegorical books, are very complex atoms that, when split, when deciphered, release immense amounts of energy/pressure which affects every brain it touches. Thought is pressure. Brains are vessels of pressure, or more exactly, pressure. The angel is the most complex, the most powerful atom in existence. It has the power to change reality 100%. The angel is unfolding reality, the will of Allah. The angel has the power, enough stored pressure, to destroy this reality completely. The Christ, he who has the ability to split and is splitting the angel, is anointed with the power to crush this world out of existence. The angel is the word that will bring the universe back under the control of the original people. The angel was written in the beginning by the first God and passed down through eons of time to the God of the renewal, the Son of Man, who is called his Son because he restores the universe to order. There is the God of the expansion, the creation, and the God of the contraction, the restoration. Quote, "Behold, I make all things new," end quote. We see in the angel Satan sitting on the throne in Jerusalem with the book, the angel atom, in his hand that he can't split/crack. Satan can't crack the code. We see he has deceived everyone but the Lamb into worshiping him. Quote, "He deceived the entire world," end quote. Then the Lamb takes the book, the atom, and begins splitting it. Once the Lamb begins splitting the angel atom, everyone turns and bows to him. The angel atom is very complex. It is really 7 atoms joined together. Each atom/seal, when split, unleashes reality-changing pressure. It is the splitting of the angel's atoms/seals that is in control, that is changing reality. As the angel reveals, it is the Lamb that is in total control. With the splitting of each atom/seal, reality changes dramatically. It is the pressure/thoughts that are being released that is changing reality. Everyone is affected. The believers will be lifted up by the pressure. The disbelievers, the devils, demons, will be crushed by the pressure. If you heard or read any of it, you have been influenced, negatively or positively, yet influenced, which impacts how you relate it to others, who in turn are influenced, negatively or positively. We see recently that Mr. Farrakhan has went to Iran and from there spread the angel message to the world. It wasn't his message. There is no scripture or information from the messenger that he could have gotten that information from. Ask him if you dare. No, he got it from the angel. He got it from my splitting of the angel seals. He virtually spoke verbatim what I have been revealing for years. The angel is changing reality. The pressure will be augmented by the power of the energy wave, which will cause it to resonate all over the planet. It has already moved the, quote, anointed, end quote. First, they worship Satan. Then they worship the Lamb. The analytical mind is linear. It is deadly as a knife is deadly because it is devoid of any understanding of consequence. As the scripture states, there is no fear of God before their eyes, which means no fear of consequence. Devoid of consequence means you have no conscience. That is why the devils are a burden to the planet, because the analytical mind is incapable of understanding a planet that is holistically designed. They would, by definition, destroy it. Tinker with this, tinker with that, tinker, tinker. That's all they do. And look at the result. A planet that is in ecological derision/distress. The analytical mind only understands force. They put their faith in weapons of force. The child is extremely analytical in his left eye, but blind in his spatial eye, his right eye. Very technical, but he can't comprehend the cost of pursuing his technical/analytical vision to the spatially orientated planet. The analytical mind is quick because it decides without considering all angles and aspects of a situation. The analytical mind is quicker than the spatial mind. The spatial mind is the creative mind. It is the holistic mind. It is the comprehensive mind. It considers all aspects of a situation before it decides on a course of action. The spatial mind is sure-footed. The spatial mind is slower than the analytical mind, but it thinks much deeper than the analytical mind and is less prone to error. The analytical mind is highly prone to error when not governed by the spatial mind. The spatial mind is deep thinking, which makes it slower than the shallow thinking analytical mind. It was the combined work of Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yakub that gave personification to the suicides of the brain. Before them, the original man was ambidextrous in his thinking. The decision to polarize the two sides of the brain was to make the original man even a greater creator than the first God, as his mind would not be encumbered with the analytical side, extremely bright, extremely creative. So we have the Jiao/Caucasians, the extremely technical/analytical, and the original people, extremely creative, extremely spatial, locked into a death struggle together. But the extremely analytical will not submit to the spatial, and the extremely spatial is totally dependent on the extremely analytical. The extremely spatial are the Negro preachers who will do nothing for themselves. They wait on Jesus and beg the analytical for everything. We need those in the middle who can cooperate with each other. Quote, turn the fathers to the children, end quote. Those are the original people who hear and accept the sifter, Elijah Muhammad, and the Shia, who are analytical Muslims, who will hear Farad's, their 12 imams call. They will be brought back together. They are the inheritors. They are the Lamb and Farad's elect. The Lamb is of the tribe of Judah, the spatial tribe, and Farad is of the tribe of Benjamin, the analytical or Shia tribe. The balance is a fundamental characteristic of pressure. In a pressure field, all components are equal. Everyone has equal energy/force. The difference is in the use of it. The difference is between the internal and external use of one's energy. If your internal energy requirement is greater than or exceed your daily energy allotment, then you will have little to none available for external use. If you take energy from someone else, you generate an equal amount of negative energy for yourself, while generating an equal amount of positive energy for the one you rob. So you have no net gain. just a dark cloud of negative energy, which is bad luck, while generating good luck for the one you rob. Stealing is a fool's errand. There is no net gain in it. It's the folly of the analytical mind. Each energy wave is like seasonal rainfall on a dry desert. The waters from the last rain is all but exhausted. Then the anticipated seasonal rains come. The desert is rejuvenated. The animals rejoice. Some even dance. You can see them dancing. The buzzards who had reigned supreme are now nowhere to be found. Ponds, lakes, rivers are replenished. The cycle of life continues. The earth converts the energy into a form that life can use on a daily basis. The allotment for humans is the amount of energy produced divided by the population. That is the just amount for everyone. Quote, spent out of what we have given them. End quote. If you exceed that allotment, you are stealing from someone else. You are generating negative energy for yourself to the extent of the theft. Negative energy is bad luck, which can manifest itself in a myriad of ways. If you use less or give to others, you generate positive energy, which is good luck, which again can manifest in a myriad of ways. Quote, Allah loves those who do good to others, end quote. It can be a source of great healing. When children who you gave life to fails to acknowledge that and refuse to give you respect and gratefulness, then they are robbing you of your just due. You gave them life. They owe that life to you. The father more so than the mother, as they are you. They are your seed. The mother provided the environment for the seed to take root and grow, but the life came from the father. So if the children refuse to give honor, respect, and gratitude, they are robbers and thieves, and they cannot be successful. They will not be successful, especially if the parents, in addition to giving them life, spent years of time, resource, and care on them. There is a cost to everything. As the Quran says, Allah takes account of everything, even something seemingly so insignificant as a greeting. How could you have a greater debt to anyone more than the one who gave you life? So, if you refuse to acknowledge that debt, then you don't deserve the life you were given, and you will pay one way or another. Bad luck in your relationships, health issues, financial issues, etc. Yes, you will pay. The parents of ungrateful children who receive payment in other fashions. Mothers who teach children to disrespect, to hate, to be ungrateful to their father who gave them life are fuel for fire. They will never be successful either. That's mathematics. You can defy mathematics, but you cannot escape its consequence. Everything has costs. The laws and statutes of Islam are there to prevent you from making stupid, fatal mistakes. Mathematics is Islam. Islam is mathematics. Everything is mathematics. Think of it. Someone finds you homeless. They take you home and let you live with them for years. They provide for you, feed, clothe you, pay your health care costs, put a roof over your head. You receive all that, but do you think that you have received it without cost? They may excuse any payment, but mathematics will call you to account. You will have to make good that debt. The person who sponsored you has generated positive energy for themselves in the process. But a dark cloud will hang over you until you have balanced that account. Your sense of balance is also your sense of love. Like most senses, organs, or systems of the body, they have multiple functions. Mouth for eating, talking, kissing, reproductive and waste elimination, etc. You shift your standing position depending on your situation to maintain a sense of balance. So it is with love. Love is just a sense of balance. That what gives you a sense of balance you love. The greater the sense of balance, the greater the love. You might see someone standing in an awkward position and wonder why until you realize that they may be standing on a slope, which they have to compensate for. Your sense of balance is based on the quote, balance, end quote. If the daily allotment of positive energy is 1,000 units, then 1,000 is the balance. For example, if you require 3,000 positive energies of internal energy, then you will generate a negative 2,000 units of negative energy to maintain the balance. Plus 3,000 plus minus 2,000 equals a plus 1,000, the balance. You will borrow, steal positive energy from others in order to satisfy your basic fundamental needs. However, in doing so, you will be spontaneously generating a negative 2,000 units of negative energy, called bad luck. If you don't take or borrow or steal, then your body will suffer an energy deficiency of minus 1,000, which will degrade your health. If you require positive 3,000 units of internal energy and your daily allotment is positive 4,000, then the balance is positive 4,000 units and you will have positive 1,000 units of external energy, also called disposable income, to maintain balance. If you give the 1,000 positive units to someone else, you will spontaneously generate 1,000 units of positive energy in some other form, such as healing some malady or inflammation, to the degree equal to the 1,000 units. Now the devil, who is contrary by nature, requires 2,000 units of negative energy. If the allotment is 1,000 units, then again the balance is equal to the daily allotment, which is in this case 1,000. Since he gets the same as you, 1,000 units of energy per day, he gets 3,000 units of positive external energy to maintain balance. Negative 2,000 plus positive 3,000 equals positive 1,000. So the devil's, while internally / personally / by nature is a negative 2,000, has plus 3,000 units of positive energy, disposable income, which is power, good luck. Note that being contrary, the devil thrives off of negative energy, alcohol, swine, drugs, etc., all of which is harmful and forbidden to the positive original people. Now the devil is the personification of bad luck, as his nature is synonymous with his internal energy requirements, which is negative 2,000. That's his nature, a contrary being who thrives off of negative energy. So the original people who are a plus 3,000 by nature, when the balance is plus 1,000, are balanced by a negative 2,000. They will achieve a sense of balance of plus 1,000 when their plus 3,000 is coupled with a negative 2,000. Negative 2,000 plus positive 3,000 equals plus 1,000. That to negative 2,000 can take many forms. It can take a human form, a devil. So the original will find balance in joining to a devil, even though the devil is a devil who mistreats them. The devils who, as shown, when the balance is plus 1,000, they being a negative 2,000 by nature will have a plus 3,000 units of energy to achieve their sense of balance. Since that 3,000 units of energy matches the plus 3,000 nature of the original, the devils can achieve their sense of balance by acquiring an original person. The relationship is not symmetric though. The devil balanced the original by torment, mistreatment, etc., negative 2,000 units of energy, while the original will give their positive energy to the devil as in work, their bodies, etc., which is exactly the nature of our 400-year-old love-hate relationship. The wicked acts/deeds/treatment by the devils will give the original people a sense of balance/love. That's what love is, a sense of balance. Quote, why do they love the devil? Because he gives them nothing, end quote. From afar, many can't understand a woman's love for a man who mistreats her. He gives her a sense of balance. You feel more secure in a room that is lit rather than dark. The devil was allowed to be made in part so that we could personify, make visible the negative luck we would face during the 6,000-year winter. Better visible rather than not. In other words, the devil was allowed to be made a personification of the negative energy we would have to experience so that they would be visible, thus manageable. Once the 6,000-year winter is done, the evil will be easily identified and expunged forever. Love is simply that which gives you a sense of balance. When the balance changes, so will your sense of balance, your love. Each jubilee, each energy wave causes a shift in the balance. The earth processes each energy wave, converting the energy to a useful form at a daily rate. The amount converted by the planet daily divided by the population is your daily allotment. The daily allotment, when the universe is contracting, increases with each jubilee, which occurs approximately every 50 to 60 years. The imminent jubilee will break the love-hate relationship between the original and the devils. It will end it forever. So, to you, the person of the devil is the personification of your negative 2,000 units of energy. The devil provides you with balance. Quote, why do they love the devil? Because he gives them nothing, end quote. That's the meaning of that lesson. We love them because they give us a sense of balance. However, the sense changes when the magnitude of the allotment changes. With each energy wave, the allotment increases so that if it increases to plus 3,000 units per day, then you have no negative balance. Your sense of balance is positive 1,000, and the devils just became plus 1,000 also. But his internal/nature is still negative 2,000. It didn't change, so there is no sense of balance with him, no love, no more love. Actually, one can see the love for devils diminishing with the introduction of each energy wave. The imminent energy wave will bring extreme imminency between the two. What is referred to as old age is not that. It is not old age. It is symptomatic of energy deprivation. When your body is suffering energy deprivation, meaning it is not able to obtain its daily internal energy requirement, the body distributes the available energy to the most critical organs/systems, while the less critical organs/systems go wanting or without. That's your body's energy management system, which tries to make the most efficient use of available energy. If the allotment energy increases to the point that meets the body's requirement, then healing occurs. If the allotment of energy increases above the point that meets the body's energy requirement, then rejuvenation occurs. Our bodies were built to last in a youthful and healthy state as long as we desired them to. Death was never designed as an enemy. Quote, death is swallowed up in victory. O grave, where is your victory? O death, where is your sting? End quote. The energy wave that has penetrated Earth will bring healing. The original self-created being, the original God, is immortal. He recreates slash reinitializes himself every time the universe is in full contraction. He is present today and can be seen and heard all across the planet. We, the original people, are him. He just changes his form to remain in sync with the ever-changing, expanding, and contracting universe. But he is always present. We are one body. The Christians refer to it as the body of Christ. Each of us are semi-independent cells of the original body. We all have vision, and our collective vision comprehends all and sees all, but our individual vision cannot see or comprehend the whole. When we regain the conscious ability to tune in, we will realize a collective consciousness. Think of your body as being composed of semi-dependent cells, all working together but not physically attached. That's the original being. We are him. As the messenger stated, quote, Allah means all of us, end quote. In your body, each cell is replaced at the rate of about every 7 years. It is replaced by an identical but new, fresh cell, a cell that is in every way identical to the one it replaces, functioning identically. So it is with the original being. When we expire, we are replaced by an identical being. There are only superficial differences because of our mothers, but the essence is unchanged. The superficial difference is to keep in sync with the changing environment, ever-changing universe. In the hereafter, you will be made to access memory to connect one iteration of yourself to the next. Memories are how we are conscious of continuity, of our immortality. The devils are also a body, the body of Satan. They are a cancer to our body. The 4 birds are the 4 sets of chromosomes that you use to self-create yourself. You get 2 sets from father and 2 sets from mother. When you learn how to identify and control them, then you can bring them together from all your relatives, the mountains, who have portions of your DNA, and reconstruct yourself. This, the backs, is a reference of semi-independent cells. We are all connected to the original body, the original being. In the beginning, we were physically connected, but now we have backs. When you were first created, you didn't have backs. Then you were given backs. The illusion of independence. Death comes to us all. Quote, every soul will taste of death, end quote. Death was not meant to be an enemy, but rather a friend. No serious, wise person would want to live forever, a continuous life without end. The first God was faced with that choice, and he chose death. Death allows a refreshing, a renewal, a new beginning, as sleep does. We are an immortal people. but it is not continuous for the individuals. Even the original nation renews, recreates itself twice in each creation cycle. Recreate at the beginning, at the full contraction of the universe, and renewal at the full expansion of the universe at which we are currently experiencing. Death is a respite/break from life, at which time a full accounting of one's life is taken. No one leaves this life with a negative or positive balance. A full accounting is done. No one escapes. Most accounting takes place in the course of one's life, and whatever residual accounts left open are resolved at death. Sometimes the death is the or an accounting. Mathematics dictates that there is consequence for every action. Every action has an opposite but equal reaction or consequence. There is no physical heaven or hell beyond this planet. The original nation is just arising out of the only physical hell there is on the earth. We just wrestled with the devil in hell for 400 years, and we have defeated them, even though they just don't know it yet. There is no physical heaven or hell beyond this planet. The planet is just waking up from winter, the worst we ever experienced. We have 4 seasons, each 6,000 years long. Now we are about to enter spring. When one dies, the very last accounting takes place. All accounts are settled. Have you ever had a dream that seems so real that you actually believe it is? Dreams only last seconds for the most part, but they seem to last much longer, perhaps even hours, maybe even more. It's an illusion, but an illusion that can seem ever more substantive than reality. Visions can be even more profound. Visions can seem to last a lifetime, and they can occur awake or asleep. At the point of death, all your deeds, all your memories, every act is compiled and transformed into a vision. If the net is positive, then you will have a positive vision. If negative, a negative vision. Positive is heaven, negative is hell. It will last only a moment in real time, but for you it will seem like forever. This is the heaven or hell promised in the scriptures that you will realize after or upon death. An illusion that is a, quote, just balance, end quote, of your life. In heaven, you will experience joy/bliss beyond imagining, without limits, without any constraints, as you will not be bound by any physical limitations or laws. You want to fly, you can fly. Want to see loved ones, you will see them. Anything you want or desire, you will have with no limits throughout eternity. All an illusion, lasting a moment, but for you, profoundly real and infinite forever. If your accounting is negative, a bitter pill, an endless nightmare, profound sadness, profound loneliness, unending anguish, all lasting a moment in real time, but for you an eternity, torment and sorrow. You might think that you can outwit or withstand the effect since you know that it will last only an instant, but you won't, no more than you do with dreams, nightmares, and they are not nearly as profound as the illusion. At that point, at the point of death, your ability to rationalize is non-existent, which is why everything will be so real. You won't be able to deduce, rationalize. You will just be able to experience. All other brain's functions, if not dead already, will be suspended. Your consciousness will be totally dedicated to the illusion fueled by your sense of right and wrong. A devil might enter heaven while an angel might enter hell. Why is that? If the devil is true to his nature and didn't see anything wrong with his life's deeds, then he will have a positive reaction, while the angel did things against his nature, might end up in hell if the accumulation of his sense of right and wrong outweighs his sense of good in his mind. Farad recited 50,000 years of history as he paced the floor every night for 6 to 8 hours continually. Why? We are told that the Quran contains 50,000 years of history. So was he reciting the Quran? We see a photo of him holding an open Quran. But he was known to recite from memory. Quote, prayer is better than sleep, end quote. Farad never slept. We get all kinds of hints and admonitions in the Quran to recite it, often for extended periods of time. The recital of the Quran is counted as prayer, but even more than that. Quote, keep up prayer from the declining of the sun to the darkness of the night, and the recital of the Quran at dawn. Surely the recital of the Quran at dawn is witness, and during part of the night, keep awake by it beyond what is incumbent on thee. Maybe thy Lord will raise thee to a position of great glory, end quote. We have no report or evidence that Farad ever performed the 5 daily prayers, just salats, which is what I call his nightly recitals. The messenger taught that Islam is a science. What is the science? The biological fact of our creation is that the voice and heart are directly connected. If the heart is excited, nervous, afraid, it will be reflected in the voice. It's virtually, if even impossible, to hide it. Emotionalism is a symptom of a weak, erratic heart. The firmer the heart, the more stable the being, the more rational the being, as emotions and rationality are in opposition or contrary to each other. Allah, the Supreme Being, possesses the firmest of hearts by definition. The Quran means recital. That's how Muhammad came into the possession of the Quran, through recital. The Quran opens with, quote, I, Allah, am the best knower, end quote. And we are told that the Quran is the word of Allah. The fact of the direct connection between the heart and voice is the foundation of the power of recital. Since the voice reflects the state/condition of the heart, and they are directly connected, the process can be reversed. If one can recite words that came from a firm heart, then they can inculcate that firmness into their heart. The more they recite, the firmer the heart. The firmer the heart, the less emotional. The less emotions, the more rational. It is an easy equation and can be tested easily, immediately. What do you have to lose? Maybe Allah will raise you to a state of great glory. The reason we sleep is because our hearts are not strong enough, firm enough to maintain a steady flow of blood to our brains for a 24-hour period. Our systems recharge every morning, every 24 hours. So we have to power down. Firming our hearts will solve a large part of the problem, but we need the strength, the energy to make slots for extended periods of time. Fasting 1 meal a day, one every 3 days, will assist with that to some degree, but the original nation is still suffering from energy deprivation, which is soon to be resolved, which will resolve the problem completely, definitively. Farad, having a Caucasian body, does not suffer from energy deprivation. He has the original nature without the anchor of an original energy deprived body. So he is able to do what we are not. But as the scriptures state, quote, we will be changed in the twinkling of an eye, and we will be like him, unquote. No longer energy deprived. The fact of tuning in is connected to the heart. We all have the ability to tune in, but we are too weak to be conscious of it. However, we are conscious of it on a subconscious level. But because of the weakness/lack of firmness of our heart, we cannot distinguish between our thoughts and all the thoughts around us. Like in a room full of talking people, you can't understand the person next to you because of all the other voices talking. You can't even hear your own thoughts. All our thoughts are polluted with all the filthy, weak-minded, wicked thoughts that saturate this country, that saturate this earth. Sometimes thoughts are so contrary that you notice them because they stand out against your very nature. Quote, where did that thought come from? End quote. Check out your neighbor, or the one standing next to you, or the one that just passed you in the streets, or even the bar you just walked past. As the messenger said, quote, it's a blessing in disguise that we can consciously tune in right now in our condition. Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. Islam is not a static force. Islam changes and adapts to remain in sync with an ever-changing universe. Prophet Muhammad did not present the Islam of Isa, and Isa did not present the Islam of Moses. Different times, different circumstances, different natures. The principle remains the same, just the application changes. The science of Islam is the science of pressure. Pressure is defined by 5 principles, which are the 5 pillars that Islam is based on. They never change, just how they are applied. The Islam of Prophet Muhammad is antiquated and virtually obsolete, at least for the original nation. Elijah brought Islam into the light of the 20th to 21st century. The Son of Man will perfect it and establish an Islam with change and adaptation built in, which is why his kingdom/Islam will last forever. There are those fools and backward, quote, thinkers, end quote, who are trying to drag us back 1400 years into ignorance and superstition. Before gravity, before DNA, before atoms and chromosomes and genetics and biology, etc., etc. They think themselves wise, but to the wise, they are just asses carrying books. They have little to no understanding of the Quran or even the Bible. You get a headache just listening to them. They say dumb stuff that is obviously stupid. Quote, the mystery God makes us in the womb and our parents have nothing to do with it, end quote. Where do crack babies come from? Has there ever been one where neither of the parents indulged in crack? They claim that, quote, all your gifts came from God and not from your parents, end quote. Really? Ever heard of DNA? Even if that was true, then what about the retarded? They didn't deserve any gifts? Did the, quote, perfect, unquote, God make a mistake? Did he fall asleep or slip, producing deformed children? Yeah, it makes no sense, but that don't/won't stop them from spouting their dumb bullshit. They say that Allah is all-seeing and foreseeing, and that he don't like devils. So why is he in the devil's wombs producing them? We are at war. Just don't produce devils anymore. The NOI on the anointed is especially ignorant. They insist that God is man, but in the same breath declare that, quote, it is God that wakes us up in the morning, that it is God that forms us in the womb, that it is God that determines our lifespan, end quote, on and on and on. So how is Farad doing all those things if he is the man God that they declare he is? How is he in every woman's womb all over the planet? And why is he making devil babies while he has declared them as our open enemy. Why make a will for war? Why waste your time with the weather that hurts the righteous as well as the devils? Just don't wake up the devils tomorrow. Such bullshit. Yes, bullshit. It's hard to maintain one's composure listening to all that bullshit. What are they smoking over there? The Sunnis are backward, 1400 years backwards. That's why the Djal, Gog, and Magog are kicking their asses. They are back in the 13th century with their misunderstanding of the Quran chanting Inshallah. They don't even know what the will of Allah is. It is prophecy for your information. It's the written and revealed will of Allah, what He is willing into existence. They have no understanding of what and who Allah is. Allah is mathematics. All is mathematics. The original nation is the consciousness of Allah. They don't understand that it is Allah that is kicking their asses. Blind, one-eyed, Dajjal has embraced, worshipped, and studied the left hand of Allah, which is the meaning of his bright left eye. The left hand of Allah is the analytical, the technical. Dajjal is more knowledgeable and closer to Allah than they are. At least Dajjal worships at the left hand of Allah. The Sunnis worship Dajjal. Farad came to teach us and to bring us knowledge of both hands of Allah, a constant, comprehensive understanding of Allah. The Anointed wants to take us back 1400 years into darkness. There are four main categories of humanity. First, the angels, which include all the original people, the scientists, and Allah, the Supreme Being Himself. Allah is the Supreme Angel, the Supreme Scientist. The Jinn are original people. They are a class of angels who resist change. They are always the status quo, the disbelievers who resist the message of change. Then there are the devils, who are the grafted creation of one of our scientists, Dr. Yaqub. They are not original. They were made from an inferior/regressive seed that existed in the original people. We had two natures within us, one subordinate to the other. If the devils were grafted from the superior seed, they would still be original, as you can't change the nature of the seed. They are from the inferior seed or brown germ, as the messenger taught. Then there are the demons, the black-skinned devils, who are from the inferior brown seed but resemble the superior black seed. They are the results of devils forcing their brown germ seed into our black original females. The devils are our open enemy. The demons are our hidden enemy. The universe expands by converting potential space into space, the zero dimension into the second and third dimensions. It's all mathematics. Neutrons are the three-dimensional space that is formed by converting potential space into space. As the universe continues to expand, it causes neutrons to spin. A spinning neutron is a proton. Objects that spin generate torque. The generated torque of the proton is an electron. The electron is a derivative of the proton. Because protons and neutrons are generated by expanding space, they generate a tension field around them. The tension fields around them are curved, much like what you see when you cast a stone into a lake, ripples. The curved tension field creates an imbalance in the tension forces within the field, such that the tension force furthest away from the proton/neutron is less than the tension force closer. Any proton/neutron within the field will be pulled towards the center of the field because of the tension force differential. This is called gravity, and it only affects protons/neutrons because they displace space. Displaced space forces a tension force differential on either side of that which is displacing it, proton/neutron. Protons, which are hydrogen atoms or hydrogen gas, are ubiquitous. They are the effects of the expanding universe. They are, in effect, the expanding universe. Expansion, by definition, is to turn potential space to space. However, the universe is now contracting, which means neutrons/protons will decay back into potential space, which is matter. Photons are generated by shifting electrons. Stars are formed by coalescing protons. Stars that forge/fuse new atoms from protons and generated neutrons. Then there are the so-called black holes. Black holes are sometimes called singularities because they are supposed to consist of trillions of tons of protons and neutrons fused into the size of an atom. Such entities don't exist naturally. We can simulate superprotons, which means protons the size of a basketball, for instance, that displaces the entire volume of said basketball. Such a proton would have all the power and properties of supposed non-existent black holes. We created such powerful objects to control galaxies. We can't have galaxies just flying around uncontrolled. We have vehicles that can traverse the universe in a blink of an eye, but it would not be possible to use them if the galaxies were unmanaged. You hit anything going at those speeds and it would be an utter disaster. We use the same technology to power our vehicles. We can go as fast as we like with no fuel, just the repulsive power of our proton engines, like magnets. We have no worries of inertia. Our proton engines come in pairs, one above and one below. They are calibrated to mimic the Earth's gravity. They only affect individual protons/neutrons. So no matter how fast you go, there is no net inertia effect. That's our idea of inertial dampeners, just constant acceleration. If one starts out at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second, and kept accelerating at that speed, how fast would you be going in an hour? To traverse the universe at those speeds, you need well-established clean lanes free of all clutter. This promise is real and will be realized soon. It wouldn't make sense if you could not traverse that garden in a timely fashion. What do you think we were doing for the last 76 trillion years? We were creating the heavens, making stars, planets, galaxies, trillions and trillions of planets, all inhabitable, beautiful, and waiting for you. It would be worthless if we could not get to them in a timely manner. But then, we were out there. Just look. See the stars? We put them there. If KV looks hard enough, he might see echoes of us from millions of years ago, flying around out there. What you see when you look up at the heavens is millions of years past. You see light that left those stars millions of years ago. So if you look carefully, you might see the light from one or more of our ships traversing the universe millions of years ago. Look careful, because they are so quick, you blink, you miss. Some of you may be gods of planets, some even gods of galaxies. Our seed will be everywhere and without number. We will number in the trillions, quintillions, but the earth will always be the throne of the Supreme Being, the God of all, the God of the universe.